Let me say this up front. Most people hear the phrase sustainable development and immediately check out because it sounds heavy, technical, like something discussed at international conferences by people in suits with long PowerPoint decks and even longer acronyms. Totally fair. But here's the twist no one really explains. Sustainable development has always been about people, about real life, about whether the way we live today still works tomorrow for us. And whether we realize it or not, we are already part of it. Sustainable development is just about saving the planet someday in the future. It's about how tired people feel now, how expensive everything feels, how cities work or don't, how work, health, money, and the environment all collide in everyday life. It's about whether the systems we live in are actually designed to last. And honestly, a lot of them aren't. That's why sustainable development matters in 2026 more than ever. Not as a concept, not as a policy, but as a lens for real life. Because at its core, sustainable development asks a very simple question. Are we living in a way that doesn't steal from our future selves? That's it. No jargon required. If the way we live today makes tomorrow harder, harder to afford, harder to breathe, harder to rest, harder to work, then something is off. And that something isn't just about the environment, it's about people, communities, work, health, opportunity. Which is why this conversation can't stay locked in boardrooms and government halls. It has to make sense to individuals because individuals are the ones living with the consequences. Here's where things get uncomfortable, but important. Most people feel overwhelmed by sustainability, not because they don't care, but because they have been made to feel like they are personally responsible for fixing everything: climate change, inequality, waste, systems that were broken long before they ever showed up. And that's not fair. And it's not accurate. You are not responsible for fixing the world, but you are part of the system that shapes it just by the choices you make, the work you do, and the things you normalize. And that is actually empowering, not burdensome. When we frame it correctly, diba? Parang power mo yan. Sustainable development shows up in everyday moments, in how we consume, in how we move through cities, in how workplaces are designed, in whether growth comes at the cost of burnout, health, or dignity. It shows up when convenience is prioritized over long term impact, when speed beats thoughtfulness, when we keep optimizing for now and quietly ignoring later. And before this starts sounding preachy, this isn't about being perfect. It's about being honest. Because sustainable development doesn't demand that individuals live like monks or turn their lives upside down. What it asks for is awareness. Ask better questions, long term thinking. At work, that might look like questioning wasteful processes or supporting decisions that are better for people, not just for money. At home, it might look like buying less, choosing better, or simply using what you already have more intentionally. In daily life, it might mean recognizing that cheap often isn't cheap in the long run. Someone, somewhere always pays for it. And no, you don't need a leadership title for this to matter. Influence doesn't always look like authority. Sometimes it looks like nudging defaults. Sometimes it looks like choosing differently and making that normal. Sometimes it looks like asking one uncomfortable but necessary question. Sustainable development, when you strip it down, is about designing life, work, cities, systems in a way that people can actually keep up with. Because a system that only works when people are exhausted, underpaid, or constantly catching up, that's not sustainable. And here's the part I really want to land. Sustainable development is not a moral test. It's not about being good. It's not about guilt. It's about alignment. Alignment between how we live now and the future we say we want. So if you've ever felt like sustainability was too big, too abstract, or too far removed from your daily life, I hope this video reframes it for you. You are already part of sustainable development. The question is just whether the choices around you, at home, at work, in the systems you participate in, are helping or hurting the future version of you. So here's your very simple takeaway for this year. When you are making decisions, big or small, ask one important question. Does this make life easier or harder for my future self? That question alone changes everything. This channel is about sustainability that makes sense in real life. Not theory, not guilt, not pressure. Just clearer thinking about how we live, work, and move forward together. If this helped you see sustainable development differently, then I hope you would subscribe. We will continue to keep breaking things down in ways that actually fit real life, one smart choice at a time. So I hope to see you again next week, guys, and happy 2026. Bye!